Hello again. Here we are to continue our discussion of the Swift programming language. I've opened up the playgrounds. If you're not sure about this, you can check the comments or watch the previous video. But right now that I've got the playground open, let's go through a couple of the challenges. So these challenges all deal with variables and the values you assign to them. Okay. So in the first challenge, we created a brand new variable and gave it a value, and then we assigned a new value. So you can see here the value is 12 on this line, and then on this line it's 33. So it's changed. Okay. Let's define a new variable. So this one says define a variable called area and set the value to height times width. So this asterisk is that multiplication operator. So if I said area equals, height times width, then you could see here that the value would be, in a moment it'll update, right? Hopefully. Oh, maybe I gotta click run there, right? Oh yeah, 264, okay? So one thing that happens in Swift a lot is if you have variables and they have different types, the operator here will have a problem or it'll throw an error, okay? So in order for us to do the multiplication operator, height and width have to be the same type. So that asks the question, like, what is a type? You can see the type by using the option key. So if I was to, let's say, hover over the width variable and hold the option key, you'll see that I get, like, it highlights width and then I get a little question mark. And if I click, it says var width colon is an integer. So int is the type. So in Swift, there's several different kinds of numbers. Int is a whole number, and it can be positive or negative, okay? And I think it's a 30, it depends on the system you're on. It can either be a 32-bit int or a 64-bit int. And that 32 and 64 just means how many bits the computer assigns to tracking the value, right? So that part doesn't matter to us. Just the fact that it's an integer is what's most important here, okay? So if I take an int here, and we can check height is also an int. We just saw that width was an int. So if I click on this one, I see width is an int and height is an int. That means that area will also be an int. Let's test it. So I'll click on that and you'll see, yeah, area is also an int, right? Okay. If I was to make another variable here, it says make a variable called per square foot. So if I say per square foot equals $5.99, then that's pretty good. But if I was to multiply, let's say, I wanted to calculate the cost of the area, then I could say, cost equals area times per square foot. And if I do this, Swift is going to say, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to throw an error. And the error says binary operator asterisk cannot be applied to operands of type int and double. So we can only use the asterisk when the type on either side is the same, is what they're trying to tell us. So it works if it's int and int or double and double, but it doesn't work if we mix the int and the double. So that gives a question too, like, what is a double? So a double is a decimal value, right? So, this is a double right here because it has a decimal in it, right? Like, this would be a whole number 6, right? Like if we rounded $5.99 up to 6, it would be an integer or a whole number, okay? And there's a couple ways you can deal with this. Down here, you can see it says convert area to a double with double and parentheses area. So maybe we'll do this. I'll move it down here and I'll put it here. And what I want to do is convert area to a double. The other thing we could do is we could have converted per square foot to an int, right? But I feel like cost should probably be a double, right? So if I was to look at cost now and use the option key, you can see that cost is type double, right? And let's see, let me wait for the thing to calculate. Sometimes these playgrounds are a little sluggish, right? Which is kind of frustrating. Let me see, what if I click the button there? Maybe it'll do it. Oh yeah, there we go. $1,581.36. So that would be the cost at $5.99 per square foot for the area that we've asked for. It's pretty expensive. So anyway, so hopefully that gets you started using var, and then also shows you types and illustrates the difference between an int and a double. So one more thing, when you assign a variable a value, for example, I've given width a value of 12, and then I gave width a value of 33. Let's imagine that I wanted width to have a value of 22.5. Now, this would be a double, but earlier when I assigned width its original value, where we started at the very beginning here with the keyword var, I assigned it an integer, right? So that means that the type was set as integer, and that can't be changed. So in other words, like if I assign a new value later on, it has to be an integer. So when I get to here, Swift sees that this type is a double, and it says cannot assign value of type double to type int. So width is an int. This new value must be an int, or you get an error. Okay, so anyway, so thanks for watching. I'm going to get rid of that because that's going to cause a problem. I'm going to get rid of that, and then I'll stop the video here, and then you can continue through and try the other challenges, or move on to the next video if you have questions.